Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. From time to time, we're always going to upload videos about the importance of leadership. Good leadership is very hard to find. Good leadership is rare nowadays. Um, Good leadership is responsible for many things, and it's the good leaders are especially important because they set the tone, right? They are the ones who are responsible for leading their students, their followers, their citizens, their employees to success. They create the good environment so that other peoples can succeed. The reason why I say that good leadership is rare is because there many times when people are supposed to lead others, it doesn't really matter for the leader if the people that the lead are successful, just as long as the leader gets what they want. And that's why a lot of things are dysfunctional. And so in this group, we want to talk about, what makes a good leader. And one of the things that I think makes a good leader is creating an environment that fosters cooperation. Now, I think with bad leadership, you don't see the effects of it until many years down the road. So, for example, with the millennial and Gen Z generation, I think they're the products of bad leadership. And we're just going to quickly read this article here regarding that. So it says depression rates soar in college students, and this was done in 2022. And then it says some key points. We need massive changes in restructuring expectations and performance. College students' depression and suicide rates are raising. Simple intervention is not sufficient. So if we scroll down, right, it says today's suicide is the second most leading cause of death among college students. The incidence of suicide in college students and young adults have increased in the decades gone by. Depression impedes the normally functioning 45.1% of students. Depression rates for college students doubled over the past decade. Overwhelming levels of anxiety are experienced by almost 66% of college students. 80% of college students experience considerable amounts of stress. More than 50% of college students find academics traumatic. 1 in 4 college students has a mental illness, and on and on and on and on. So this is kind of telling that we've, as a society, have failed the next generation of people who are essentially in their prime. You've always hear college is the best years of your life. So how can that be when everybody is depressed and non-functional, essentially, right? And I think one of the things that I want to emphasize is that the leaders of, let's say, these students or this generation have essentially failed them because they failed to create an environment that fosters cooperation. If you look at the current state of the K-12 system, so many young people that I meet don't really care about helping others, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, are selfish, right? Um, I don't think it's necessarily their fault. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. But it's also the fault of the leaders who did not emphasize good principles and values. Because one of the tenets of the K to 12 school system is about how everybody's competing with each other. They're competing with grades, they're competing with extracurricular activities, sports. They're competing in a lot of things, popularity contests. And so everything's becomes this weird um, dog eat dog world that's very similar to, and I had a lot of thoughts about this in how it was similar to Squid Game. So I thought about how our society before Squid Game was a Squid Game. And if you've never watched it, it's pretty much about a dystopian society where people just eliminate each other um, because everything is just competitive, right? Uh, I'm not going to go too much into the plot, but that's essentially what modern society has become for many, many places. And because people feel isolated, the problem is that they're socially conditioned from birth, especially when they've spent the most formative lives in a competitive environment. And then they get out of that competitive environment, and humans are not creatures of reason, we're creatures of habit to see the other people around them as competition rather than people to learn and grow together with. And me as a leader, and I want to emphasize that all of you who are listening to this are potential to be good leaders, and hopefully you are, is that you're going to create and foster a cooperative environment. I just know from life experience, I don't have studies in front of me to show this, that competitive environments are very depressing. And there's nobody really is a winner, even if you are the winner. Because what happens is that when you're the winner of a competitive environment, you essentially become the best of the worst, right? Like nobody really grows together, because we all know that true learning happens when we do it together, when we learn and grow together. That's when true learning happens. And you as a leader are responsible for creating that type of environment. In fact, this type of environment is so rare that whenever I help other people, I know I'm viewed with suspicion. Whenever I'm generous, I know I'm viewed with suspicion, because we live in the Squid Game environment where people think that in order for them to succeed, they have to eliminate others. But people are their worst enemies, because if you are always in a high stress environment where nobody else can be trusted, that's not going to make you happy. This is a reason why depression and suicide rates are so high in society. I remember when I went to college how depressing it was, where I would always meet people with an agenda and they say, "Hey, nice to meet you." And then next week they couldn't even remember my name, because apparently, I guess I'm their competition, or, they're so self-focused that they don't see the people around them as part of their life goals, or people who they'll learn and grow together with, right? So here's what I would emphasize. So instead of living in a constant competitive environment, as a leadership, as a leader, as part of good leadership, you're going to have to eventually create an environment and almost brainwash people from what they know to learn and grow together. And this is my ideal image of what I think that is. So, for example, if you ever played Street Fighter, yes, you kind of have a little bit of competition, but you always find people that you learn and grow together with, and that makes you stronger. People need other people who are just as strong as them to learn and grow together with. You're not going to be the best of the worst. The best of the worst is very common in society, right? Where you have one person at the hierarchy, and then you can never at the top of the hierarchy, and you can never be better than that person, which is sad. But as a leader, I want you to be different. I want you to create an environment where the people around you can actually be better than you, and we all learn and grow together. All right. Okay. So this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested, and I'm always going to make a plug for our group, joining our group and learning how to be a great leader, go ahead and click the Google form link below, or you could email us by finding out our email address in the About page of our YouTube channel. Okay. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll speak soon.